Well, hello, somebody. Welcome back to Inside the Trenches. I'm your host, Marlon Favorite, and we are enjoying ourselves right here today as we do every day. Y'all make sure y'all check us out right here on ESPN New Orleans, 6 to 8 p.m. every day, well, every weekday at least, Monday through Friday. We on here talking sports, and I'm usually fortunate to have a guest like my homie that's coming on next, the homie Mario Jerez. Y'all be sure to follow him on X at Mario_E_Jerez. Mario has Pell's Kitchen, which I know they got the draft coming up. We got LSU Talk, Saints. Mario does the Hispanic radio for all of these sports. But Mario, the focus right now, the boys are back in town. OTAs has kicked off. You got the full team, the full swing look. So Saints begin day one of OTAs. I'll start here. You had some noticeable guys missing, one being Marshon Lattimore. I mean, Dennis, Coach Allen is like, it's not a big deal. He's on his team. Your thoughts on, some noticeable guys not being there at the first practice?
Oh, yeah. What's up, Big Fave? Hello, somebody.
Hello.
Yeah, definitely a couple of noticeable names. Alvin Kamara, one of the guys that are not there. You wouldn't think it's a big deal for people like that, veteran players that know the playbook and don't really need it. But when you contextualize it a little bit, it does look a little bit sketchy. I know Kamara had a deleted tweet from this morning when he was saying, what did the tweet say? I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head. It was basically like, you shouldn't try to paint a picture if you're a grown man and try to paint a picture of another grown man, especially if you're a bad painter. And Dennis Allen had a weird quote yesterday about Kamara dedicating time to his family because he has a family now. So maybe that irked Kamara the wrong way. So maybe a little bit of sketchiness with guys like that. But besides that, all the veteran guys missing, I wouldn't really worry too much. Like Jamal Williams doesn't really need to practice, I don't think. Chase Young is a new player, but he's dealing with injury. So maybe that deleted tweet with Kamara can raise some alarms. But other than that, I wouldn't pay too much attention to the absences. I mean, this is time to be optimistic, right, Big Fave? The Saints have a lot of holes. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but this is the time of year where everybody's undefeated, and it's going to be mostly optimism out of Saints.
That's what you're going to get right now. Basically, the fan base is just ready for the football season to get rolling. So anything that we can pull out of OTAs to try to develop some stories to try to get closer to getting this team where they need to be is pretty much where we're at right now. Just to mention a few more guys that, and this is according to Mike Triplett. Mike Triplett does New Orleans Football along with Nick Underhill, Marshon Lattimore, as you mentioned, Ryan Ramczyk, Chase Young, Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Stanley Morgan Jr. wasn't there. Defensive tackle, Nathan Shepard, he wasn't there. Passio wasn't there. Defensive end, you didn't have Nathan Latu there as along with, now here's where we can kind of start thinking, hey, you're a rookie, you need to be there. Linebacker Jalen Ford wasn't there, and neither was Swell. They did mention Kool-Aid McKinstry being on a bike, but again, that's, this is still what's going on with the Saints. Now, as far as players off to the side with limited action, you had Cam Jordan, you had Jordan Howland, along with offensive lineman Mark Evans, quarterback Nate Peterman. I'm sorry for laughing, Nate. Tight end Tommy Hudson. Either of those guys, they were off to the side where it was limited action at that practice as well. So, like as Mario mentioned, probably not too much to read into. But what I do see, Mario, out of OTAs or what I've read, I didn't get a chance to make it to that practice, but I'll try to get out to one of them. One thing I did see at the opening of this thing is that offensive line is starting to shape up. This was an area that that they were worried about in regards to who was going to be the left tackle, who was going to be the right, who was going to rotate in the middle. Your thoughts on how this offensive line is formulating for the Saints?
They have a lot of work to do, right? Clearly. And we got about 3 months until preseason, so I definitely need to practice saying Talisi Puaga's name in Spanish because that might be kind of a challenge. But there's a lot of motion there right now, right? Like they're trying to figure a lot of stuff out. Trevor Penning working with the ones at right tackle right now, which is interesting. You drafted Fuaga out of Oregon State, who was a right tackle his entire career, but who you have repping now at left tackle with the ones. So from left to right, at least the first stage of OTAs, you had Fuaga, Nick Saliveri at guard, who was a fourth-round pick last year, McCoy at center, Cesar Ruiz at right guard, and then Trevor Penning at that other tackle. This offensive line has lost quality starters over the years. I don't think they've really been the same since Teron Armstead left for Miami. And now this situation with Ryan Ramczyk is really a kick in the shin. Right now, most people that cover the team speculate that he's not going to play. But Dennis Allen yesterday, one of the interesting things he said was basically like, yeah, it doesn't look good with Ryan Ramczyk right now, but we're going to have a more tangible, a more concrete update closer to training camp. So that's obviously going to make a big difference. You're talking about one of the better tackles in the NFL when he's right, but we'll see what happens with that situation. On the surface right now, you're betting on kind of a lot of guys to thrive in positions that they hadn't played before. And that's really going back the last couple of years, right? Like Cesar Ruiz was a center at Michigan, and you've been playing him mostly at guard. So it's just a lot of shuffling. And if Dennis Allen and the coaching staff is able to maximize it, maybe you can put a good product out there this season. But if not, and you whiff on some of these things you're doing here in the off season, it could be a really bad situation. O-line was already a liability at times last year, but it's not looking good going into this year just based on how it already was, what's happened with Ryan Ramczyk, James Hurst suddenly retiring. So they're being creative, which I appreciated. It's something that you need to do, but some of these shifts, some of these motions that they're doing better pay off, because if not, the Saints are going to have some serious issues along the offensive line.
And you don't want to go that direction at all, having serious issues on the front lines, because that's an area that has to be tight this year. You do have a young, outside of Derek Carr, you have a young quarterback room, right? We draft Spencer Rattler. We bring in Jake Haener at the end. Nate Peterman, let's be honest, it's more, to me, he can make this roster just as a trustee to Derek Carr, but you could tell that the Saints, especially after the draft now, are leaning towards younger talent, hence Spencer Rattler. If y'all are just tuning in to Inside the Trenches, I have Mario Jerez on with us. Be sure to follow my brother on X, Mario_E_Jerez. Mario does an excellent job at updating us with stuff in two languages, in Spanish and in English, dealing with the Saints, the Pelicans, anything LSU. Mario got us covered like a blanket. Sidebar, Mario, I just want to talk a smidget of basketball with you. Do you see the Timberwolves going to the finals?
Whew. Man, they've been such a volatile team, right? Because it looked like they had Denver dead in the water. Then it looked like the Nuggets figured them out, and then they go out and win in Game 7. That's going to be a great series, man.
Mm-hmm.
And just as far as who the winner of the series is going to be, I might have to pick the Mavericks right here on May 22nd. We've talked about it before, just the star power that they have with Luka and with Kyrie. And there was an interesting tweet about Kyrie Irving this morning that I saw, and it was a picture of him with Luka and a picture of him with LeBron. And it was like, how come he left Cleveland, didn't want to be LeBron's second fiddle, but he's perfectly happy being Luka's second fiddle? And my answer to that would be some growth, some maturity. I think Kyrie has really blossomed in his role, and it didn't really start very well with him and Luka, especially defensively. But they're now 3 years in. You could tell he's had patience. You could tell they've developed that rapport. And that 1-2 punch of Kyrie and Luka is going to be really hard to pick against, even with what Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid, and Minnesota is doing. So as of now, I'd probably pick Dallas to win that series. I definitely like them tonight as a 4.5-point underdog just because it's better value. But this is going to be a lot of fun, man. This is going to be our 6th straight season with a different NBA champion, and parity was kind of a problem in the league before, right? So this is going to be a really good conference finals, Minnesota, Dallas. As of now, I'd probably pick the Mavericks. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Most definitely. So real quick here, I was just looking at some of the information from segment excuse me, from that first OTA practice as we're getting things going. I'll say this, Mario, real quick. A.T. Perry, to say he was a lateral draft pick in last year's draft, has really seemed to emerge as that other guy in that receiving core, right? You're talking about a group that we've been trying to get together for a while, real quick. And Mario, if you don't mind, we'd like to have you stick around for 2 segments. Is that cool?
Of course. No
Oh,
problem. Anything for you, big fave.
my dog. So we have about 30 seconds here. Your thoughts on the emerging of A.T. Perry in the Saints' offense?
To summarize it, I think it's similar to Jordan Hawkins with the Pelicans. Like, why is this dude not playing? They need a big, speedy receiver, just like the Pelicans need offense and need shooting. And when I hear the reasons why he's not out there, why he's not getting more reps, it doesn't really seem to make much sense. It goes against common sense, right? So his stats were great at Wake Forest. He was really good in the preseason and towards the end of last year. I'd like to see some more A.T. Perry. And honestly, I think we probably should have seen some more of him as a rookie.
That's big, because he made some clutch plays last year. It just seemed like, I mean, obviously we have Clint Kubiak there now, but man, I forgot my dog name already. Coach Pete Michael. Sorry about that, Coach. Carmichael. I still mess up. Carmichael. Look at me. I'm horrible. Sorry about that, Coach. And I spent years with this man on the Saints roster. But anyway, it just seemed like he didn't have a lot of trust in him as a rookie. But this offense seems to have it. Hey, well, look, y'all don't go anywhere. We'll have Mario stick around. We'll talk more Saints OTAs. It's Inside the Trenches, baby. Right here on ESPN New Orleans. Check out that, man. Good stuff, Mario. We about to knock.
I thought that we were better than that. You keep calling my line while I'm working my daily grind.